Welcome to the Atomic Impact Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Osborn. And on this podcast, we interview successful business owners for them to share atomic, impactful lessons that they've learned throughout the course of their business and share them with us as well so we can all learn together. As always, the show is sponsored by the LinkedIn Reverse Podcast Method, the new way that established businesses are creating a reliable acquisition channel of conversations with their ideal prospects. We use this method to book 26 qualified leads and sales calls in 10 days without any ad spend, outreach, endless social media posting, or any of the old, ineffective traditional marketing methods that everybody hates. To find out more, direct message me on LinkedIn to have a chat. The link to that will be in the show notes below. But on today's show, our special guest is Karen Stanbridge. She's the owner of strategic business coaching and AI governance for SME leaders, providing diagnostics and AI governance sessions. So, Karen, thanks so much for being on the show today. And I want to start off by asking you a question that I always love to start with, which is this. If you were somehow able to go back in time to when you started your very first business, what would you do differently in the first 12 months, but knowing what you know now?
Good question. Well, firstly, thank you for inviting me along. And in answer to your question, I think I'd probably take more risks. I'd take risks with discipline, but I'd take those risks to push the business forward quicker. When I started out, I was probably overcautious.
Yeah.
Whereas, I realize now by setting a robust governance framework, you've pretty much mitigated most of those risks. So if something happens, you've got something to fall back on.
Yeah. Yeah. It's something that I hear quite often, people just saying they would have taken more risks. What do you think stopped you from taking more risk at the beginning? Because I know that's it's a key thing. Even when people are well established, they taking the next level, the next leap up can also feel risky, and people can be really reserved with that. So what do you think actually stopped you from moving forward with taking more risk, and what changed?
I think it was due to the fact I came from a different background. So I came from a corporate background. So I didn't need, for example, to go and find clients. They were handed to me. I didn't need to set my rates. I knew what my consultancy rate was, but I didn't need to worry about anyone paying it because they were already there. So I just needed to deliver the service and make sure the client was happy at the end of that service. And I didn't need to worry about the prelude to that. And that was the bit I think I got myself tied up in knots with initially.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, because it's definitely one thing if you have an experience in an area and you jump into your own business, you kind of know that. But then when it gets to, okay, we got to grow, we got to scale. Yeah, it can definitely feel a bit scary sometimes for sure when you're doing that. Well, what's been one of the biggest lessons you've learned as you've grown the business to not only scale it and grow it and get more clients after the kind of initial intake of those corporate clients you already had relationships with, but what were some of the things that you've done to help grow that and are continuing to do?
I think for me, I've decided what my niche is. I want to focus on SMEs and solopreneurs, but I'm looking at the smaller end of SMEs. I've had so many people say to me, why don't you go for the big corporate clients? And I've said this before, just because you can doesn't mean you should. I want to do something now that I really enjoy, something that excites me. And I feel that's where there's the passion. You haven't got all the political layers, and that's just the niche that I wish to work in. So that's kind of really what's helping me, because seeing their excitement also drives me and ignites, my excitement for doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. That's really, and it's great that you've got such a clear focus on it as well. Because so many people don't. They just go, oh yeah, I'll take every type of business, but you know exactly what it is. You know what to say no to as well, which is
Exactly.
really, really key. Yeah, very important. Well, one of the other questions I love to ask around this, Karen, is the challenges we've had, because we all have challenges in business. It can feel a little bit isolating as a business owner. We can think that the challenges that we're going through are unique to us. No one else in the whole world's ever gone through this before, and it just can feel really isolating. So I like to normalize that. Like, what are the challenges we've gone through, so we can all go, okay, we all go through them. Cool, we can grow through them. So, what's been the number one biggest challenge that you faced so far, and what's the lesson that you learned from that?
So those that know me know I like to go AZ. I don't pretty much like the stuff in the middle. And that's been how I've always been through school, through everywhere. I didn't show the workings. I just started the question, delivered the result. And, that's always stood me well. But I recognize that actually you do need to show others those bits in between, because not everyone thinks the same way as you. So I think I've probably become more open to slowing down and showing the steps, the iterations
Mm,
to take you from there to where you want to go, which is why business strategy is so important, because you've got your roadmap and you've got something to reflect back on. And I've always used that, but I'm I'm a bit of a speed doer. I always have been, absolutely with strong, guardrails, but I like doing things quick and I don't like hanging around, but I recognize everyone's different. And just because somebody takes a bit longer doesn't mean they're bad at what they're doing. So I now try to bear that in mind, show all the workings as I move forward on my journey. And
mm,
it's a useful lesson when people are, or one, say one of my clients is telling me, oh, things aren't happening quick enough. I can relate back to, well, actually, they don't. You need to keep pushing in this area. You need to look at why things aren't moving, what you need to tweak. And having that clearly documented, I think,
yeah.
is a really useful lesson. Whereas I used to carry it in my head. And yeah,
Yeah, yeah. No, and I think that's another really great observation around it, because we can often just think, well, why doesn't everyone just do the things the way that we do them? Or why don't they think the same way we do? And we can get really frustrated with that. But I love seeing that you've acknowledged that, seen that, and how you can adapt that to your own clients and understand that process with them, because I think I would assume that helps the relationship with your
it, it,
prospects and
it
clients as
absolutely
well.
does. And something else I'd like to add to that is I tell everyone, don't look at what other people are doing. Just because
Yeah.
that's what they're doing doesn't mean it's right for you. And that's something I've learned as well. Because you look at others and you think, gee, they've achieved this in this time frame. Actually, a lot of it's a load of rubbish. Focus on what you're doing. Have your goals that are clear. Have your
Mm,
dashboard to relate back to, and don't let others distract you.
yeah, definitely, 100%, 100%. Well, one of the things I'd be interested to hear around your perspective around this, because I know this is your world with stuff. What's for SMEs? What are some of the bigger challenges and changes within AI that you're seeing affect businesses right now?
Bluntly, lots of noise, lots of bloat around AI. I love AI.
Mm,
But you need to start from solid foundations. You need to have an AI policy. You need to understand what you're going to use AI for, what use cases. And just remember, just because you can doesn't mean you should. What I'm seeing, many businesses are using AI, but without a clear direction. They're using it badly. They're exposing data. They don't understand. Their data could be used to train the large language model because they haven't set up a robust framework. So, what I would say is be really clear, start from the beginning, define your AI policy, have a clear AI vision, understand what use cases are right in your business for AI.
mm. Yeah, yeah. And I know obviously the short answer to this is for people to contact you, but if people are just listening to this and they're like, well, where do we even start with a framework? Can you just give one or two tips to just get them thinking along those lines, so they even know what the right questions to ask someone like yourself?
And it's different for every business.
Yeah.
So, solopreneurs, smaller SMEs, they would have different requirements. So I'll give you an example of something I've recently done, so it may trigger some thoughts. So I've created some what I call co-workers. Essentially, they're skills I've created in Claude, and I've upskilled them as I've learned that that particular AI agent with these new skills needs to learn more. and it's having fantastic results. It will be fully autonomous, but there'll still be checkpoints, guardrails in there. But at the moment, I haven't got any connectors that are live. So it's drafting the content. So it does my social media for me, creates videos, all of that while I'm doing other tasks or maybe sitting in a coffee shop or something. And it can really help you with your business. Likewise, you can set up agents to draft emails. I have a chatbot on our website that is the first port of call for many clients or potential clients coming to our website. And it's been trained to answer a number of questions the clients might have. So there's lots of different things you can do. We were looking at another business I have is in the residential block management sector. So I co-own a residential block management and estate management company. And one of the contractors, we were looking at their schedule, and it takes them a long time to quote once they've been to site. So we were looking at automating quotes so they can send voice notes to call on the standard templates so the quotes can be generated based on the triggers sent from their voice notes to Claude. So there's different ways of using it. And then for my coaching clients, it can do a whole load of things. It can carry out competitor analysis. It can give them ideas for social media to generate interest, leads, etc.
Yeah. There's so much. There's a world of opportunity out there for sure with AI.
I could talk about AI all day because there is so much. And Anthropic, for example, have mapped a load of roles, data analyst, a number of other roles, and you can actually take those roles and you can upskill them or tailor them for your organization. So there's so much you can do, but it goes back to the beginning. There's no point grabbing any of that until you understand what your AI policy is and what humans should do and what AI should do. Basically, repetitive tasks.
Yeah, exactly. Well, definitely. I mean, there's so much to explore on all of that side. Well, for people that are wanting to get in touch with you, learn a little bit more about what you do, how you can help them, what's the best way for them to do that?
Probably the best way is to contact me via LinkedIn. So I'm on LinkedIn under Karen Stanbridge. My business, the Business Coach, has a page on LinkedIn as well. And obviously we have our website, but you can see all of those links anyhow from my LinkedIn profile, which I use more for professional type stuff.
Amazing. So LinkedIn is the place for people to go to find you.
LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram as well, but LinkedIn for me, certainly I find to be the more professional platform.
Yeah, definitely. Amazing. Well, I definitely recommend everyone checking out Karen on her LinkedIn profile and anything in regards to AI. If there's things that Karen said today and you're like, I don't have a clue what she's talking about, good. Reach out to her, talk to her. That's the whole point, because there's so much with AI that can be done and we don't know it all. And having people that can help guide us are really, really helpful. So Karen, thank you so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, it's been absolutely great. So thank you for just sharing all your words of wisdom and knowledge around that. So thank you so much. And as a reminder for everyone listening, this show is sponsored by the LinkedIn Reverse Podcast Method, the new way that established businesses are creating a reliable acquisition channel of conversations with their ideal prospects that doesn't rely on any of the old, ineffective traditional marketing methods that everybody hates. To find out more, try to message me on LinkedIn to have a chat. That's Jason A. Osborn. The link to that will be in the show notes below. And until next episode, stay inspired.